Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is Sean with Get Out Live Now Philippines. And today's subject is going to be how much Filipinos are actually earning in the Philippines, the truth. Well, we need to go over some things. The Philippines income versus cost of living, male versus female, plus the real budget reality. When people talk about income in the Philippines, one of the first questions is always, do men or women earn more? And then the bigger question is it even enough to live on? Because you hear all these videos like all these poor Filipinos are not making enough and they can't even afford to live. So let's break it down in a real simple way. Number one, you got education level, men versus women in the Philippines. Before we can even talk about income, it's important to understand education because it directly affects earning potential. Obviously, in the Philippines, women are slightly more likely to hold a college degree than men. Around 20 to 22% of women have completed college compared to around 18 to 20% of men have completed college. So basically women have a small advantage in higher education completion rates, which helps explain why they're strongly represented in office jobs, healthcare, education, and BPO sectors. Although when I call into these places from these American companies, I often get a male in these BPO sectors. So I don't know, I'm not for sure what the percentage is on that, but I often get a lot of males, a lot of Filipinos, and they help me just as well as the females. So no difference in that. However, men are more heavily represented in manual labor, construction, transport, and technical trades. Women are more concentrated and focused in formal employment sectors requiring degrees. So education doesn't just affect income, it also shapes what type of work people end up in. Number two, and I just outlined this. I just want to be able to go through this so I'm not like always stammering for words, Common jobs in the Philippines and their average monthly pay. Now let's break down the real job market because this is where most people, they fail and they fall. Office and entry-level corporate jobs. Administrative staff, 18,000 to 30,000. Accounting and HR assistants, 20,000 to 35,000, and this is in pesos per month. Junior professionals with degree is 25,000 to 45,000 pesos per month. Now in the BPO call center industry, you have entry-level agents usually start out at an average of 18,000 pesos to 30,000 pesos per month. Experienced agents start out at 30,000 pesos to 60,000 pesos per month. And your team leads and your supervisors, they're going to be earning anywhere from 40,000 pesos to 80,000 pesos per month. And I've actually known Filipinos, and I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, where they would work for like Chase Bank, and I would ask them how much, and they were earning up to like as a supervisor lead. Even at that time in Manila, they were earning like almost 100,000. I think 60 to 100,000 back then. So this is still in line, I guess, but there are high-paying jobs out here. I mean, because if you're a Filipino, we're going to go through this, but earning 100,000 pesos a month, you're actually considered almost rich at that point. You're doing very well. So the next one is transportation and delivery jobs. Jeepney, tricycle drivers are going to be 15,000 to 30,000 pesos a month. Taxi, ride-hailing drivers are going to be 20,000 to 50,000 pesos a month. And delivery riders or drivers is going to be Grab, Lalamove, Shopee, Lazada, anything like that is going to be 20,000 to 45,000 pesos per month. Next category is going to be construction and skilled labor. Laborers are going to be making an average of 15,000 to 25,000 pesos per month. Skilled workers, which includes like carpenters, welders, electricians, plumbers, stuff like that, they're going to be making an average of 20,000 to 45,000 pesos per month. Foreman, experienced tradesmen, supervisors or, foremen, stuff like that, those positions are going to be earning about 40,000 to 80,000 pesos per month. And I would say that that's probably from a business aspect. Now, if you're hiring Like personally, maybe you can get a discount on that. I'm not for sure. If anybody knows, they can feel free to correct me on this. Please leave your comments down below. I really want interactions with this because I'm learning. I've been here over 3 months now. It'll be almost 4 months, but I'm like I'm actually learning as much as I can, as quick as I can, so I can actually acclimate into the Philippines, so I can stay here long term without any foreseeable problems or issues. And I just I'm just flowing right along with everybody else. Next category is factory and manufacturing jobs. Production workers make an average of starting out 15,000 to 25,000 pesos per month. Machine operators are 20,000 to 35,000 pesos per month, and skilled technicians are anywhere from 25,000 to 40,000 pesos per month. Excuse me. And then the other job category I actually asked to include is going to be the nightlife, the bar hostess, and the service job industries, because I was a long-time bartender in Las Vegas for like almost 2 decades there. Did it in California as well. I've worked in I worked in the grocery store industry, been supervisor, manager, stuff like that. Worked in fast food, managed, supervised, thought about opening up my own franchise at one time, but it didn't work out. But anyways, this actually includes bar girls. It's just not going to say that, but I asked to include bar girls, and we're just going to structure it nightlife, bar hostess, and service jobs. So in the hospitality and nightlife industry, there are roles such as bar staff, bartenders, hostesses. You got mama sans, bar girls, you got front door people, you got some marketing, promotion people. I will never know what the freelancers are making, unless I go out there and actually ask or interact with that. So that's a whole nother subject. These are service jobs typically focused on customer interaction, table hosting, and drink service. And in Manila, they probably clean up, I'll be honest. They probably really, really clean up. Probably going to be making way more than this. But anyways, bar staff is going to be 16,000 to 25,000 a month pesos. Hostesses roles are 20,000 to 30,000 pesos a month. Higher end nightlife venues, especially in major cities, tourist areas, are 30,000 pesos plus per month with tips and commissions. And I would say that's probably even higher. I would actually have to ask a couple of the YouTube guys that I know. I would just ask them out there in Manila, because they're out there like probably a couple times a week at least in these clubs and stuff. And it's insane what even Filipinos can make. Income, especially, don't want to get sidetracked here, but especially if they're basically mostly foreign based, so you got your Americans, Canadians, Koreans, Chinese, you get all these people, Japanese, you got all this, so people have money all over the world, guys. When I worked in Las Vegas, like I said, I worked with every, from $0 to multi-billion dollars. I've talked to people, I've served people, so what I found out was there's more people than you think that have tremendous amounts of money. You think it's just a few, it's not. But anyways, income in this sector can vary widely. I just said that. Depending on tips, location, customer traffic, shifts, and hours worked. But overall, it generally sits in the same range as other entry-level jobs in the Philippines. For the most part, that's probably true. Freelance, online work, informal economy. You got beginners, 10,000 to 25,000 pesos per month. Experienced freelancers, editors, VA, which means virtual assistants. It could be anywhere, 30,000 to 100,000 pesos per month. And that varies widely because, it depends on how much, these virtual assistants, if they have business owners that are making tons of money, well, they'll probably pay them a little bit more if they're doing quality work. Here we got average wages for men versus women in the Philippines. According to the latest Philippine Statistics Authority labor data, women earn about 22,236 pesos per month on average, while men, Filipinos, earn about 21,009 pesos per month on average. They didn't have to get that specific. That means women on average actually earn slightly more than men nationally, about 5 to 6% higher overall. And that's probably about, that's the difference in like the college educations as well, or even higher. However, in some regions and industries, men still earn more. In others, specifically office, BPO, and service jobs, women earn equal or even higher wages. So the real picture is not as simple men versus women, but more about what job you're in and where you work. Next category down here, we got the average Filipino income reality. Most full-time workers in the Philippines earn about 21 to 22,000 per month, average nationwide. In Metro Manila, it's more like around 29,000 pesos per month on average. Provinces is going to be around 14 to 20,000 pesos per month, depending on the region. It does fluctuate quite a lot. And so for many Filipinos, the realistic income range is going to be about 15,000 to 30,000 pesos per month. Average Filipino size plus your monthly cost of living is going to be the next thing I'm going to go over. The average Filipino household is now about 4 to 5 people for family, and I would say it could even be 5 to 10 from what, from my experiences talking to Filipinos out here and meeting families, but we're just going to go with 4 to 5. Median income is often supported more by, than by just one person. A typical monthly budget looks like this. A single person basic provincial life is 15,000 to 25,000 pesos. Normal working lifestyle is going to be 25,000 to 40,000 pesos. And a comfortable city living life is going to be 40,000 to 60,000 pesos. So then you got a family of 4 to 5. We're just going to jump to that. Your basic living is what you're going to be doing off of about 40,000 to 60,000 pesos. So you're like almost poverty level. When you're middle class, you're going to be living off of about 60,000 to 90,000 pesos per month. And then your comfortable city living is anywhere from 90,000 pesos per month and above. And I know that, a lot of the interviews we watch, we can see that the girls are saying, they consider rich, even a foreigner, if they're making 100,000 pesos a month or more. So we know that that's the case. Definitely anything over 90,000 pesos is comfortable city living, especially for a Filipino. So when we put this all together, when we combine incomes, jobs, education, cost of living, the reality is women have a higher slightly college graduation rate than men. Women also earn slightly more on average overall, which I guess that makes sense, right? The most common jobs in the Philippines pay between 15 and 35,000 a month pesos. Skilled or high demand jobs can reach 40 to 80,000 pesos per month. Many nightlife and service jobs fall in the 16,000 to 30,000 peso per month range, depending on tips and location. Most Filipinos earn around 20 to 30,000 pesos per month, a basic but stable life for a single person. And this is speaking about Filipinos only. Starts at around 25,000 pesos a month, which is that's about $450 a month USD. Excuse me. A comfortable life in the city often requires 40,000 plus pesos per month. Families, usually 4 to 5 people, typically need 60 to 90,000 pesos per month to live comfortably. So, anyways, I just wanted to give that out. Even though there are small differences between men and women in education and earnings, the big issues in the Philippines is not gender. It's overall income level versus cost of living, which really that's how it is anywhere. And when you look at all job types together, most income levels cluster in a similar range, with the biggest differences coming from skill, experience, industry, and work volume. And I would say where you live, where you're in the province or the city, what city you live in, not just gender or education alone. And that's why many Filipinos, and I'm not talking working abroad, I mean, they'll go from like the province in Mindanao, they'll go all the way to Cebu, they'll go to places in like Makati, Manila. They'll even go up to Baguio, because I believe eBay has an office like in Cebu, Manila, Baguio, last I checked. Don't quote me on it, don't hold me to it, but there's even people go up to Baguio, or they go to Davao, if they're in a province in General Santos, so they're to Davao, or they go maybe CDO to make a little more money. So anyways, this is Sean with Get Out Live Now Philippines. Get out and live your best life. Not tomorrow, but today. Do it now, guys. Please give a thumbs up, share everywhere, and consider subscribing to the channel. Have an excellent day, guys. Over and out.